The hidden flammable cladding risk. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian Heise here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. I'd like to have a look at an article from commercialrealestate.com, originally from the Fin Review. It's to do with the combustible cladding you don't know about, essentially the hidden flammable cladding risk. So let's zoom in here and have a look. For those of you that aren't aware, Australia is in the middle of, well, a series of construction disasters, and I'll bring up my Google Maps or Google Earth, and we'll have a look at just some of these buildings to draw everyone's attention to it. Now, what we'll do is we will jump over here and have a look. So I have pinned several buildings here on Google Earth, and I mean you can see here Kingston Place, Verve Apartments in Newcastle, we've got Altitude, Sugar Cube. This is what I call the triangle of fail in Sydney. Sydney's not having much luck, but this is not just a Sydney problem, and this isn't just flammable cladding just in Sydney or just in Melbourne, it's around the whole country. Now you can see here I call Sugar Cube, Zetland and Mascot the triangle of fail, and there are going to be a lot of construction issues here, a lot of contaminated land issues here, and a lot of this I would argue is to do with the procurement method that these buildings are procured, often in a design and construct methodology, and I'm not really a fan of it for buildings that people need to sleep in, at least for developers. So it's a bit different when you have, a mine company managing, building and doing the whole thing for 20 years. A little bit different. Anyway, let's have a look here. This is on the construction map from HeiseSays, our blog, where we've got some of the data from just the flammable cladding issues in Sydney and just the different assessments that they were done. Now, people will be scared and worried about this, but depending on where the cladding is, depends on the risk. On a commercial building, on the front of a shop, it's probably a very low risk. On a balcony where someone could sleep and someone's smoking and cooking, it presents a much higher risk. So you need to do risk assessments to deal with this. But it also presents a tremendous potential cost to the construction industry, and it destroys a lot of consumer confidence. Let's have a look at this article. So Australia's cladding crisis continues to deepen after a New South Wales tribunal judgment declared a synthetic wood product used as an attachment on building facades was combustible and failed to comply with the building code's fire safety requirement. Now, we have specified similar products. I literally have it out the front of my house on my dodgy stairs there, and I mean it's reconstituted wood combined with glue, and it's meant to be achieving some of the requirements. But the problem is the testing for flammability on facades isn't, it doesn't test them in situ. There's component tests, and it's not perfect. It's not providing us a perfect assessment of it. And as architects and designers, we're specifying these materials. We'll just get the certificates from the supplier and say, okay, it ticks that. That's what we've done. We're not scientists. We can't test this stuff. We have to depend on the information provided to us from the manufacturer. And the problem is, you could specify material that you think is fine, and then you have a tribunal hearing that later changes it, that presents an additional risk. So it's tough, guys. It's tough to keep on top of it all. So you've got to develop data collection processes. You've got to tick everything off, and then when you do all of that, and the client gets a builder, and the builder says, "Oh, I've got this one exactly the same, cheaper. Here, look, here's this piece of paper from China, exactly the same. What Australian standard stamp do you want? I can give it to you. Just tell me, and I'll get them all made. They print them out over there." Anyway, developer Fraser Property Australia is appealing the New South Wales Civil and Administrative Tribunal ruling that found it and builder Taylor Construction Group in breach of their statutory warranties for installing biowood cladding on an apartment building in Sydney's Ryde. NCAT's appeals panel will hear the matter next month. Well, I'll type in biowood so we can have a look. I think, composite. We'll jump over here. I mean, there you go. Biowood, timber. I mean, they mustn't be very happy. I mean, here you go. You've got it. Natural look timber, lightweight and durable. I mean, there you go. It looks beautiful. You know, I'm imagining it's a panelized system. I don't think we've spec'd it before. Shopping centre, in there. There you go. I can see why they spec'd it. I can see why they spec'd it. But let's see, what do they have about us? Is anything in the news? Fence palings, facades and claddings. And here you have it. So it's an extruded wood panel product. So the idea is that you just lay it on it. It's lightweight. This is the advantage of it, I'd imagine, over normal wood. It's got a lighter weight. So if it comes down, there's going to be less force coming down. The structure behind it probably doesn't need to be as bad. And you'd imagine it to be stronger with the designs. What is it made out of? I mean, there you go. Cladding wall panel. So, is it going to be worse than, we don't know which type they specified, is that going to be worse than just cladding it in a reconstituted timber or just a normal timber product with the flammability of it? Biowood architectural component facades, colours. What do they have here? I mean, there you go. So, when the idea is, look at this. The advantage of this is you get a wood look. It's an extruded product and you can install it and there's a system to it. Okay, rather than putting individual battens on there and having to fix them. Because that's a lot more work. That's a lot more. This is why you'd specify, because this will be easier to do. What do we want to look at? What do we got there? We've got wall and cladding paneling. Let's have a look at a manual. Screening. Are they calling it screening? Maybe they have to. I mean, here you go. This is a different one. Still, I bet you it's still bloody expensive though. I bet you it's still expensive. Biowood, fire retardant reconstituted wood screening. So it's fire retardant, but what testing data do they have? You know, it's Green Building Council of Australia. I mean, that's just a paid membership. That doesn't really mean anything. Biowood. What is Biowood fire retardant reconstituted wood screening? Okay, they're calling it fire retardant, so I mean, this is just a marketing thing. You get additional information and certificates from them to prove their testing. But you'd spec this because this is going to be easier. You just put one up. You don't need to fix it all the way. You know, it comes in, what, lengths 5.7 meters, so you could do a whole facade of it, one after the other. It's going to be a lot faster and easier to install. So I understand completely why they picked it. Completely why they picked it. And it's concerning because this stuff will be everywhere. This would be everywhere. It would be a very easy product to install, so I can see it being very popular. So if not overturned, the ruling over Biowood, a composite material of 70% pulped wood and 23% PVC, and you know, it's meant to be a green product. I mean, this is the thing. When you look at the embodied energy and stuff, the way they manufacture it, the way that, you know, it's cheaper to just grow the stuff, but this is easy to maintain because it's got the PVC in it. So you gotta weigh it all up. So we'll vastly widen the scope of materials apartments and commercial building owners have to scrutinize in assessing the fire dangers of their buildings. Yeah, this is going to be a big problem, guys, if this one comes out. Scrutiny so far, including the focus of building audit processes underway across the country, has focused on risks to buildings posed by aluminium composite panels and expanded polystyrene, which are used for structural purposes such as walls. I mean, just the polystyrene used for walls, I mean, it's a bit of a joke. The NCAT ruling at the end of November widens the scope of concern beyond structural elements to materials such as biowood used for aesthetic purposes, but which was found non-compliant with the building because it posed an unacceptable risk of spreading fire. See, this is the thing though, you need to... This is the thing. I mean, this stuff, if it's flammable... There's certain ratings of flammability in the NCC. Like around a fire escape, you need to make sure it's completely clear that they can get out. But the problem is if this stuff can spread fire from one compartment to another compartment in a building, that's probably the risk that they're going at. And where the flammability tests. I guess, I mean, would that be a risk on the outside of David Jones or something where it's just, I guess if it's 2 stories, it's 2 compartments. So we'll have to see. Maybe there just hasn't been enough testing. This case has shown anything used on the facade of a building, included as an attachment, needs to be assessed for its combustibility, says Gardner's partner, David Middleton. If it is combustible, it is quite likely to be considered an undue fire risk and needs to be removed. Building services company Roscon, which inspects buildings and advises on rectification, said the ruling could prompt reconsideration of the scope of products considered in the audits led by state government. I'm just thinking what we've cladded a building in. A design we just worked out in Christmas. We used a lot of FC, painted, and a lot of bare stone, which is like fake concrete and heavy as anything, so it ain't gonna burn. So yeah, because that's what I'm telling the guys. You got to be lift it up. Maybe I need to do that. I install some bare stone to bulk up. So this is a multitude of products out there in the industry that are used as cladding facades. Cladding facade products that will now come under scrutiny. Roscoe National General Manager Sahil Basin said, "Biowood is widely used in commercial construction as it gives a wood-like appearance that weathers far better than actual timber." Yes. McDonald's, which uses the material widely in restaurants, said it had received advice that the rulings did not apply to the fast food company based on the building size and type. "We take our responsibility to ensure our restaurants comply with all relevant codes seriously and require our suppliers to operate to standards which meet or exceed the legal requirements," a spokeswoman said. The ruling orders Taylor Construction and Fraser to replace the biowood attachments on the walls of the two buildings with 148 apartments and to pay the cost of the owners' corporation that brought the case. Fraser said the ruling only affected the use of biowood on the external facades of apartment buildings, and it was not regarded as non-compliant when used in other ways, such as on balconies or soffits, the underside ceiling of an external area. Well, yes, because the concern is that it's going to spread fire from one floor to the other. That's essentially it, or one apartment to the other. That looks like that's what the concern is here. The ruling is significant as it reflects a lack of clarity on compliant materials, creates confusion for new home buyers, residents, builders, developers, and the entire industry, said Cameron Leggett, Fraser's Executive General Manager Residential. Well, he's right on the money there. It is going to create a lot of confusion. The certifier, this would have been, honestly, this is the certifier's responsibility, or the fire engineer's responsibility. If they had a building this size with 148 units, there should have been a fire engineer involved on it, checking it all. Solicitor Via Shafiq, who acted for the owner's corporation, said the appeal arguments from Fraser and Taylor differed little from their arguments in the first case and were unlikely to succeed. It's a safety issue, he said. It will take a very confident tribunal, panel or judge to come out and say everything's fine. People can be assured that if this catches fire, no one is going to lose their life. I'm not prepared to say that, and I don't think you would be prepared to say that in the light of the expert evidence. I'm confident based on advice from our barrister, the appeal is doomed to fail. So there you have it, guys. Product that, well, again, presents a potential risk with a bit of confusion here. We've got the installation manual. Where is it? Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, the problem is, I would bet it's because it's spanning multiple compartments. If they broke it up with fire separation between the compartments, and maybe they get away with it. I'd have to look. It looks nice though. Looks pretty. You can see why they spec'd it. But what do you think, guys? Please let me know your opinions in the comments below. And if you're a fan, please like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to help the channel that little bit extra, we have a Patreon where you can make a monthly donation. You can also support us via joining this channel here on YouTube. We have... what do we have? Yes, affiliate links at Independent Reserve and Amazon and eBay, merch at the HeiseSays website, pocket squares handmade, and PayPal if you want to contribute that way. Thanks everyone, take care, and I will talk to you all later. Bye for now.